Okay guys, new topic, something you haven't seen before probably, so make sure you're taking good notes and you're following along with me here. An exponential function. We know what those look like. We just got done graphing those in the previous section. Let's say we had something like y equals 2 to the x power. Okay? I'm going to rewrite that as y equals b to the x, b meaning base, because that base can be anything. It could be 2, 3, 5, whatever it is. But I know I have a base raised to the x power. If I wanted to write what's called the inverse of that function, anytime I want to write the inverse, I interchange the x and the y's. So the inverse of that function would be x equals base to the y power. That's what my inverse would look like. And what we're going to talk about next are called logarithms. And we see that y is the exponent of b, or that b is raised to in order to obtain x. That exponent is called a logarithm, or a log for short. Okay? Now let me show you what a logarithm looks like compared to this x equals b to the y power. A logarithm, okay, is going to look like this. Instead of x equals b to the y, it's going to look like y equals the log or logarithm of b. Now that's a little subscript b that's down and to the right of x. Okay, the logarithm of that base to the x, that's what that's going to look like. Now, okay, that's just kind of the short of it. You'll see here in the next slide how we actually convert between these. So once again, the way I just had that written, if I go back and you look at this right here, I'm just going to flip the order on this, and I'm going to put log b to the x first. Base of x equals y. Okay, that's what a logarithmic function would look like versus an exponential from the previous slide. Oops, I missed. Looks like that, x equals b to the y. I'm going to write it b to the y equals x. Okay, and now we're going to convert from logarithmic to exponential. Now when we look at our first example here, when I see this, I know that I know that when I switch it to exponential, that word log is going to be gone. Okay? What I'm going to do to get rid of it is, and I'm going to draw some arrows in here, hopefully this helps, but we take the base to the power of what's on the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to write this as 2 to the third power equals whatever was over here, 8. And if you, in your calculator, you do 2 to the third power and hit enter, you will get 8. So it's kind of like we're taking whatever the base is, raised to the power of what's on the right side of the equation, function. That's what we're going to raise it to. That's just like doing b to the y equals x. Okay. 9 to the 1/2 equals 3. True statement. 5 to the -2 equals 1/25. Well, if you think about the fact that 5 squared is 25, but when you have a -2 exponent, I would have to move that to the bottom of the fraction, the denominator. There you'd have your 1/25. And then lastly, 2 to the -3. Well, that's 2 to the third is 8, but if I move that to the bottom of the fraction, be negative, that'd be 1/8. Converting from logarithmic to exponential. Now we can also convert the other way, from exponential to logarithmic. So this is your x equals b to the y. And remember, our logarithmic is going to be, if you go back to here, y equals log b to the x. Now remember that b means base. And if I go to my highlighter here and I say, okay, here is b when it's in exponential form, here is b when it's in logarithmic form. Well, in my first example, my b is 2. My y ends up over here. That's where my 4 is. And then the x ends up here. In this case, that's 16. So I have some things to reorder here. So it'll look like this. Since my y is the exponent 4, I'm going to have log. My base is 2, x is 16. Okay, in the next one, my y is 2, log base 9, not 18, 81. Sorry, I got a little backwards on that. Next example, my y, my exponent, negative 2, log base 3 of 1/9. Then lastly, let's just do this with some variables. Okay? Be careful here because I kind of flipped the order on you here, but my exponent here is a, my y is a, z is the x value here, and my base is the x. So I'm going to have a equals log base x of z. Converting in between forms, something you're definitely going to need to be able to do.